Today, we get to talk to you about a pedal that if you're a fan of Hogan's Heroes, would make Hogan himself super proud. This is called the Gonkulator. Hogan's Heroes Gonkulator. But the pedal's called the Gonkulator because somebody at DOD probably had a sense of humor and was a fan. So let me give you a little story behind this. So all these soldiers in World War II are in a military prisoner of war camp and they want to do something to tease their captors. So they come up with something called the Gonkulator. Long story short, nobody knows what it does. And that makes for a really funny episode of Hogan's Heroes. But what does that do for me and my guitar? Well, let's talk about it. The DOD Gonkulator started off with our good old-fashioned friend, the old grunge pedal. You know, the pedal that was really popular in the 90s when grunge was popular. And then they did something twisted to it. They added a ring mod. A ring mod? Ring modulation. That means you can get the craziest tones that you've ever gotten out of your guitar off this thing. And I'm going to show that to you today. Let's take a look at what it's got for us, okay? 5 controls on this one. This is simple pedal. First one, we have gain, then distortion, and finally output. That's the top 3. Gain, as you guys remember from previous videos, is basically what we call volume, except for volume doesn't work. And as we add gain, it adds clipping and distortion into the signal. Distortion obviously is the distortion level. So how much distortion are we going to put into the actual signal that we're using? And finally, we have level or output. The output is the level of the output that we're actually getting from the other two. So we can fine tune it so that it doesn't overpower our signal. From there, we go on to 2 other controls that are below that. One is null and the other one is ring. Let's talk about the first 3 and go through those, and then I'll show you what these other 2 do. All right, so if I just turn my guitar, clean signal, that's my basic clean signal. I'm gonna throw in the Gonkulator, and we're just gonna add a little bit of distortion. Very low level right now. So right here, I've got my gain, and I'm gonna just bring that up a little bit, as well as the distortion. Then I'll finally start hearing some things. Here it's dirty, sounds gritty, exactly what it's supposed to. I'm gonna keep bringing that up. Okay, fun, sounds good. Now output level, all I'm gonna do is trim where that's at. Off. Just find a happy place, a happy medium, where it's comfortable, it's not overbearing, it sounds good in your amp, you'll do fine. Now we get to talk about the fun controls on this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn up my ring. When I get to that point, it sounds funky and weird. Not quite sure what's going on there, but there's a lot of overtones and harmonics. That's the ring modulation. I'm gonna turn this back a little bit. Set it to a nice, comfortable setting. Weird. Now I'm gonna add null. What null does is it actually finds the frequency that you're going to modulate. So you can actually set this thing to a really comfortable setting of the key that you're playing in. So say I was playing an E. Now you can hear that I have the ring in harmony with my actual E string. So it rings out on that. You hear that thing? It's awesome. If I play a little bit of noodling around, okay, and if you want to have fun, you can just sit here and do the tweaker thing, which is play with the Null. I hope you go out and check out the Gonkulator. For what it's worth, it's a fun pedal. You're gonna have fun playing with it, you're gonna get some weird tones with it, and that's gonna make what you're doing even more interesting. Want to say thanks to the guys over at Digitech for giving us the pedal and letting us do these reviews. Thanks to Knackpack Films for putting this whole thing together. This is SLCAudio, and we'll see you next time.